There is one question on everyone's mind, besides are you a kid or a squid? It is the question that I will most likely pose in the non-spoiler view. I don't know, I haven't done that yet, but I most likely ask the question, is this a parody of goofy 80s action shows or an homage? Here to debate this with me is this guy.
You're a kid now, you're a squid now. You're a kid, you're a squid, you're a kid, you're a squid, you're a kid, you're a squid.
This is Gatchaman Crowds, and I'll be straight up honest, until you told me about this, I didn't know this was a real show. I thought, because the only time I ever heard of it was on Kai's cell phone, whenever he gets a text, it just goes, Gatchaman!
Yeah.
So I thought it was like an internet joke or anything. I mean, you look at the series in kind of a good way, it doesn't look like it should be real, because you look at it, and this is something I really enjoyed, every character is animated from a different style. Like,
well, I never really noticed. I thought that it always just looked like in the same style, just different clothes and stuff like that.
No, to me, you definitely got a sense like Hajime looks very current. Like that OD is obviously this past decade with very flamboyant representation of gay people in a lot of medias. Speaking of gay people, OD might be one of the best gay characters I've ever seen. Like, him being, and this was something I liked with him and Utsu, their extra traits were very much personality traits. They felt like matters of circumstance as opposed to the big main focus. You know, if this would have been done in America, every 10 seconds OD would have either said something really gay or been a gay stereotype or something like that.
Well, there is already a dub.
Yeah, which I got through 20 seconds of, and Hajime sounds 30. So, it's Sentai Film Works. If you like them, fine. If you don't, then you're like most of us. But stuff like that I liked, especially Utsu. I really enjoyed that character. That was a nice idea.
Who's Utsu?
The green one.
Oh yeah, the girl who always says I'm gloomy.
Yeah. Who I guess is an alien.
She's not an alien, she's just a goth girl.
Yeah, but then she's able to touch people and heal them. They never really went into that.
Well, every Gatchaman has their own special ability.
Mm-hmm.
So.
They never went into that. Okay, we got past the simply good stuff. I really, just to get this before anyone gets on me in the comments, I really liked OD, I really liked Utsu. I didn't hate anyone in this. This wasn't like an Attack on Titan or Sword Art Online in the end. I'm like, fuck you in the mouth. With this, I was very much just more underwhelmed by a lot of things. Like, for instance, and since we're still on the characters, I think Hajime, and I forget his name, the blonde kid, the show definitely focuses on them the most. They're the most boring characters.
Well, because Hajime is the new Gatchaman, so of course they have to focus on her because she's the main character. But then the other guy who's just... See, Gatchaman, in like how I saw it, was just like, oh, they're these group of superheroes that take things way too seriously, as superheroes really should do, but then Hajime comes along and becomes a Gatchaman, but she turns everything on its head and pretty much shows them that they don't have to be serious all the time, and it's not just like, oh, you know, everything doesn't have to be all serious all the time. We can actually have fun with this and kind of live our lives and not just fucking live as superheroes. And, it's like the same, like, oh, man, you're the new team member, and we have to try and figure out whether or not we like each other. And it's like the first half of the season is all about, oh, we have to try and like learn to like each other. And as the season goes on, they grow and create a bond with each other, which at the final episode completely is shown off. Which also, speaking of OD, I did like how throughout the whole show, he didn't want to ever turn into his Gatchaman again. Which I thought was a really interesting plot point that, you rarely see anymore the trope of, oh, I don't want to use my power because I'm kind of scared of it. But when he finally turned into his Gatchaman, it was like, oh my fucking god, yes, this is amazing.
Yeah, and that lasted 20 seconds. Yeah. I was really disappointed how little action there was in a show that claims to be an action show. There's 2 fights in this. 3 if you include at the beginning where they're fighting a Rubik's Cube.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And that lasts 8 seconds. I looked up online. This show, apparently the studio who makes it, I forget who did, they went through huge budget cuts when it was being made. It was originally supposed to be 24 episodes and got cut down to 12. It shows so badly. Because here's the thing, you say that the Gatchaman take themselves too seriously, and they very much do, but they suck as heroes. They let way too many people die in this, and it's not quite Man of Steel numbers, but unlike when the crazy flamboyant nightclub bad guy thing, who also was very underused, is like going in people and stabbing people, and what are the Gatchamen doing? Just monologuing and complaining about Hajime? It's just sort of like, okay, are you guys going to do anything? And then in the end, they don't really do anything. It's mostly Rui who saves the day. Like, screw it, you could have cut the Gatchaman out of this. Hajime could have just been some random kid on the street, and nothing would have been different. I mean, I'm just looking at this show, and before anyone gets on my case, I've seen a bit of Season 2. It looks like they fix a lot of the problems. So, no one get on my case about that. I'll get to Season 2, I swear. I'll review it, and we'll talk about all that later. But for right now...
I mean, it's only on episode 4.
Well, yeah, so this will be a while. But the sort of issue I take with that is that, you know, it needs to be smart and it needs to be intelligent. Fair enough. But the thing is that it's not being smart or intelligent in a way that's new. We've seen all these tropes and these cliches before. Like, you know, the new girl, the rookie, everyone just thinks she's an idiot, she can't add anything, but she ends up being the one who changes everything. It's been done to death at this point. And I felt like the reason I thought this was trying to be a parody was that there's so much being thrown at you that you can't take seriously. Like, they're being led by a tiny panda!
Yeah.
A tiny alcoholic panda!
Hey, don't mess with Pai-chan.
It's like, how am I supposed to take this seriously? But then it just sort of doesn't really go anywhere with anything. Like, OD, they're building him up that he's going to be like the best Gatchaman. It's going to be powerful. Might end the whole world. And he's a Gatchaman for 20 seconds and he looks like a giant walking pipe organ. And then it's sort of like you're expecting there's going to be this big final fight between Hajime and the flamboyant thing. And then it's just, we just skip to, and now he's in her, no word of explanation. God, that sounds perverted. It's really hard to talk about the end of this show without getting rapey.
Yeah, I do like how in Season 2, whenever, like, Hajime is just, like, out and about, and from time to time, you'll see him. Like, when she transforms, he's actually in, like, the, like, I guess, pseudo-space where they're just, like, fighting in. And he's just there, and I like how it's, like, a comic relief kind of character now. Because every time she's just like, shut up, and then she just punches him Team Rocket style, and he twinkles in the sky. I always thought that was
from the sounds of it, Season 2 is funnier also. A lot of people
Season 2 kind of, not to go off topic, but Season 2 did actually bring in a little bit more action, bring in a little bit more drama, as well as, like, stopping the whole, like, oh, we're gonna have to fucking, like, in the first, like, episode 0, which is essentially, like, the intro, I guess, of Season 2, which is a 17-minute episode, and it kind of introduces, like, what's going on. There's a lot of fight scenes. It's really cool, and like they did act like they, as you said, like Season 1 didn't have a lot of fights, but in Season 2 so far, I think there's been 4 fights. I think.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. There's still filler, nonetheless, but still, it's better off than the first season.
I think this show needed filler. I think we just needed episodes where it's like there's an alien in down.